Heyo, my name is Kat and welcome to my channel. Hello, welcome. Today's video is going to be about the tools that I use for writing and creativity. So, everybody does things a little bit differently, and sometimes the same person has several different methods that they use for their writing process, for their creative process. So what I'm about to use and state is like kind of the stuff that I'm using for shadow and probably will also be using for blood rain. To start with, some of the stuff I use, as a forewarning, might be I might have to pay for it. So, but then some of the stuff is free and like doesn't cost very much at all. So I use my helps when you're in the right section. I use a pen and paper. That way sometimes I carry a pen and paper with me just wherever I go, and then I can just jot things down wherever I am, or like even just using the notes app on your phone, that type of thing. Also, I use my bullet journal and my planners to try and help keep me a little bit organized. For pen and paper, I have like my outline for shadow is in here. Like I hand wrote my outline, and then I also have like slightly digital version. I use Scrivener, and I'm actually gonna real quick share the screen for Scrivener for you to get a quick little view. So this is actually Scrivener 3. So my document, this over here is like the note card thing. I put my information for my outline there for what I want to happen in this section of the file, type of thing. I actually do plan to do a video where I actually walk through how I set up and how I utilize Scrivener files the majority of the time. Sometimes there are instances where I don't do it that same way, but in general, I use the same format in Scrivener. But I use Scrivener for the drafting part, and then I also put my outline into Scrivener so I can look at it on the same image, window tab, whatever, while I'm writing. So I can be like, what am I trying to achieve in this chapter or scene? Next, I also use Microsoft Word. Most of the time, the reason I'm using Microsoft Word is to have an alternative spell check, or I use Microsoft Word for dictation, which is speech to text. So I get to just talk to the computer instead of having to type, because your hands do start to hurt, and I have tendonitis in my wrist, so like my wrist gets like in a lot of pain sometimes, and like sometimes it's hard to move my fingers, and typing is not pleasant. So a lot of time that is why I use Microsoft Word. I also will use it to take all of like download the text, and then I can look at it in Microsoft Word. It's slightly easier to just transfer stuff from Microsoft Word to some other docs. I use Google Docs and Google Suite. So when I use the docs, I do it for similar reasons to Microsoft Word, because it has a great dictation function. And Also, it's a great way to be able to share the file with other people. I am not to the stage of alpha readers yet. I do plan to get to when I use them when I do. So if you're potentially interested in being an alpha reader for Shadow Book 1, let me know. I will do an official call once the draft is done, obviously. But it's a great way that I can just put it all in either one document or a folder and then share whichever to a person, and then they can put their own comments and everything right there on the thing, and I don't have to worry about us transferring files or things getting lost in files. Just one doc shared between me and one other person. The next thing I use more of for like my series Bible type thing, and it's a great way, once people know you have one, to connect with a community of people, to learn more information about your characters and about the world and everything, and just for world building in general, because you can make this private or public. There is free memberships on World Anvil. I have a paid membership that I pay yearly, and I plan to do a video also about this, but this is where I put like the character information. There's character images and stuff on there. If I come up with maps, they'll appear on here. Just a whole bunch of stuff. And there's so many things, but don't be afraid, because you don't have to use everything. You don't have to use every button. It's okay if you don't. And it has a lot of extra features that you don't think about. Like some of those categories, like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about doing this for my world building. So, but I use World Anvil for building up the world, and then I have a quick go to it, can access it from anywhere on my phone or my laptop. It's great. Next up is Artbreeder. Artbreeder is a website that allows you to create new images. In fact, I will just pull it up real quick and log into it before I forget to do so. So in Artbreeder, this is not the final step for me when I use it. It's more of a first or second jumping off point. So let me share the Chrome tab for Artbreeder with you. So these are actually some images that I have made. So the main character of Shadow verse is actually Lavinia. So this is my main character. This is not her final form. I am going to give this image to someone who's an artist, and she is going to create an actual full version of her. But this was a sort of jumping off point to kind of get an understanding of what she would look like. I also have all of her siblings and her parents created in here. So it's a great jumping off point. I'll probably, if people are interested, do a video on Artbreeder and how I personally use it. There are some other people that use Artbreeder as well, so I might see about seeing if they'd be interested in doing like a collab type thing. And if I hear about anybody doing an Artbreeder video, I'll let you know. But it's a great place to make concepts, or like, because it takes images and combines them, and you can distort them in other ways, adjust like eye color, hair color, skin color, earrings, the person who would wear glasses, all of that. There's a lot of different settings, and they have even more going in. So, and you can basically make an entire family tree of like, well, so these two started the family tree, then you throw in this other gene set and this other gene set, and you suddenly get brand new characters. Well, the final thing I'm going to touch on that I use is actually Sims. So the reason I said that Artbreeder is like the first or second is because sometimes I like to create characters in Sims just to have like a kind of idea, and then use Artbreeder, or I'll use Artbreeder and then Sims, kind of. I also use Sims for the building function. So I might actually build like the house that my Sims live in, or the office layout. If you check out Jayce Maxwell's channel, Jayce has done Jayce is the storyteller in a Vampire the Masquerade game that we play. It's not official or anything. I'm one of the characters in it. Jayce has made the plane that the characters are staying in, and also one of the locations they were stuck in on their channel using Sims. So definitely go check out Jayce Maxwell on there. And like that's a similar way. And then you have like you can actually move your character like Sims through the building to be like, okay, this is not reasonable or this is reasonable. And you have like a fancy map, I guess, of the building. That way also you don't mess up. You have something to reference back to. Like that way you don't end up with like 6 libraries in 6 different locations when you're only supposed to have 1 library type of thing. So it's kind of like making a map, but in Sims. So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 things that I use. I will probably be making a video going into a little bit more detail on how I use these different things. Because I also use like my planners and stuff, so I want to do some planner videos and all of that. So be on the lookout for a potential like video on walking through how I use Scrivener, World Anvil, how I use Artbreeder, and I'm probably also going to do some videos on the creation of buildings that I'm going to use in my books. Just because I think it would be fun to share that with everyone and give like a little tour of it, maybe. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye!